Are we live? It says we're live, so let's say live. It always feels like, are we on? Are we on? I don't know. It says we're on, but then no. It says we're not. It says we're about to be online, then we're not, and it's just.
There's a delay.
I'm having my usual Monday meltdown. Welcome to the International Writers Fellowship, where authors from all around the world get together to talk about anything but writing, in my experience. Daniel Hand here, RPG therapist, joined with regulars Ember and Erica and somebody here whose face has frozen. Please tell me we haven't lost her in the moments that we've gone live. We have. We've lost her the moment we go live.
Oh no, Jules.
I need to log on.
Oh, wrong one. Anyway, we will be joined when her by Julie Sharp, who is the other founding member. You can hear us.
The call is coming from inside the stream.
Oh.
Maybe log back out and log back in again, darling, because there's a massive delay as well.
All right, it's been my. I'm hoping my internet will cope with this. I'm going to.
The internet won't believe this, but until we went live, Jules was fine, and then as soon as we're online,
it's true.
Yeah. Anyway, in her own time, Jules was a founding member of the IWF. Then, for some reason, I can't remember why, but you didn't come along straight on board. And then now you're in a place where you're able to. Why on earth has that suddenly happened? You were clear as day a few moments ago. How's everybody else doing? Let's Amber and Erica, whilst Jules is sorting technical difficulties out. How's everybody else doing?
I'm okay. I'm having a lot of anxiety today, so if Captain Evie is here with me, I'm just gonna kind of.
Nice.
I'm good. I'm good today.
Good. I understand you're playing D&D this weekend.
Yes, we have one more. Well, our DM told us to come next session, so in 2 weeks, with our happily ever after for our characters. So we are going to fight the big bads.
Big bads, all plural.
Yeah, there are two. In 2 weeks, and then we get to tell our characters happily ever after from there. So that's, and I don't even know. Like with Alana, I had that shit figured out. I have no idea with this character.
Well, just make it
so
up
I've got
online.
2 weeks to figure it out.
Pull some cards.
Might
let
roll
the
some
cards
dice.
decide. But or roll the dice, yeah, absolutely. I mean, because you've got, I presume, you being you have room upon room filled with roll tables. Just just grab a roll table and roll out your character's destiny.
And if there isn't one, I'm going to create one.
Indeed. There you go. See? Job done.
Yeah.
I was going to say something. Yeah, so we've started playing.
Hi, Sean.
Hello, Sean. How you doing, chap?
Thank you for following me over on Twitch. I saw you.
Yeah, we started playing Pendragon, which is a very different beast to D&D. You've actually, you are assumed to be doing the chivalrous thing. So, you know, if you don't murder hobo in Pendragon, because if you murder hobo in Pendragon, bad things happen to you. You know, so it's another thing entirely. We saw you. There you go.
So
Jules is with
I was
us.
wondering I was wondering if it was my Wi-Fi that was a problem, so I've just connected with a wire to see if that makes a difference.
Always the way. Never. I've got wired mouse, keyboard, everything is wired these days. There's
Does that seem clearer?
100. Yeah, you actually have a face, which
Oh, good.
tends to help.
What did I miss?
Just Erica telling us about roll tables for her character, and me complaining about in Pendragon you can't get away with murder, which is just because I did a thing where I actually stopped the bad guy from doing something, and I said, "Do I get any bonus of that?" It's like, and the GM was, "Well, no. It's just assumed that you will do stuff like that. You're a knight, for God's sake." I'm like, "Ugh, but I want bonuses. I want XP. I want inspiration." Fine, okay, I'll be a good person. So, but yeah, it was good stuff. Anyway, now that Jules is with us and she has a face, yes, Julie Sharp, the other founding member of the International Writers Fellowship. How many years ago now, Jules?
2014, 10 years.
That was is the wrong answer, because that would imply that I'm 10 years older than I was when we first got together.
Oh, you realize how long we've been friends for, though?
No, because that would imply that I'm 20 years older than when we first met.
Yep. Good job.
So for everybody else's benefit, Jules and I met whilst we were, I mean, not in person, but whilst we were both at university, doing in the early days of the internet, just, back on forums before Reddit, just reached out. Jules, you had created a run board all about fantasy writing.
Yep.
I turned up, made myself comfortable, and then 20
Became
years
a mod
later
for me.
became a mod. Yeah, you were a fool and trusted me with authority.
Yeah. And Gary too, I think.
And Gary, yeah.
And Gary.
Yeah.
Who exists somewhere.
He is making sure that we have a steady stream of avocados, okay?
Oh, yeah, very important.
He's doing important work.
Important work.
Every time I have an avocado, I thank Gary. So
Thank Gary or curse Gary, because avocados, really? Ew.
So yummy. Guacamole, come on.
Nope.
Daniel, for what do we owe this glowing complexion if not the avocados?
I am not digging that hole any deeper for myself.
Dig that hole. Don't do it.
Anyway, so that was where Jules, myself, Gary, and Jen actually met. Then we all got jobs, did
Finished
grown-up
university.
things, and then, as Jules was saying, about 10 years ago, it's like, oh yeah, remember those people we actually used to like? Let's talk to each other. Yeah, absolutely.
Good
Boo.
job. I'm like 2 years behind the curve, but I just binged Severance with my partner, and I'm so glad I left corporate America.
Yet?
I'm sorry?
Is there a season 2 yet? No.
It's coming. I'm glad I didn't watch it when it came out, because season 2 is it's 4 months off, I think. So my partner's a teacher. He's never worked in corporate America, but I would look at him and be like, this is exaggerated, but it's not in so many ways. Oh, so that was, I'm so glad I work for myself now. I can't.
Sorry, what Severance? I've got.
Jules, help me out.
A TV show about people who go to work and they go to the basement, and when they get to the basement, they can't remember their normal lives, and they do their job, and then they get back up the top, and they can't remember their work. So it severs their work life and their home life. Very interesting philosophical implication as well.
Yeah.
So good.
The people who, the person who you are at work has no recollection of anything but being at work. Their entire life is just being at work.
Isn't that true of everybody else? It's kind of how I feel.
Well, that's what I mean. That's why it's so disturbing, because I don't want to say things like giving shit away. Go ahead, Jules.
I was just going to say, the first time it happens, everybody's like, what the F is going on? Because they don't know. They wake up and they have no memory of who they are. Or
they
anything.
leave work
and they're like, why am I in this white room? This is just, bit disturbing in a good way.
So, Jules, tell us a bit about you, yourself, and now.
Sure.
Tell us about your writing, your authorial interests. Obviously, you are studying for a PhD at the moment, which people here might find interesting. Give us the life
I made some
story.
I made some
go.
notes last night, so I could just kind of try and do the summarized version. We'll see how that goes. So when I was at university and we were doing stuff online, I was intending to be a secondary school teacher. So I got to do that for about 5 years when I finished my qualification. But I'd always wanted to do like writing as well. That was kind of my background. And then work kind of morphed into working at a university, which was not anticipated. So my teacher training is English and English as a second language. And then while I ended up doing some study and work at the same time in professional writing and editing. And in that process, I was like, oh, I remember doing this role-playing game on the message board with Dan and friends, and it was really fun. Maybe we should turn that into a novel. So I think it was like 2010 that I just sent Dan a message because we were still emailing on and off. And I was like, I've always wondered whether we could turn this into a novel. And Dan was like, it's so bizarre. I was thinking the same thing, which happens a lot to us.
Yeah.
Like a lot. And so we were like, well, maybe we should have a crack. We made sure we checked with everybody who'd been involved with the game because there was probably at least a dozen people who participated.
Yeah. Originally, yeah.
And we kept the characters that we had made and kind of the shape of a lot of the other characters, but we changed names and actually created a backstory and all of that. And then we got to 2013 and we actually finished the thing, and we both looked at each other and were like, wow, we actually wrote a novel. Like, we'd always wanted to, but never actually known what that would look like. And we were like, oh, I can write a novel. So that kind of, yeah. Yes, which you may or may not notice is actually sitting on my bookcase here.
It's a bit small, I think, all in, but let's see.
So this copy, so here's the,
yeah, there we go.
this is just literally like printed. So the year after we finished, or probably about 6 months, I went to my birthday party with my friends here in Australia, and they handed me this present and were like, here, we printed your story and turned it into a book for you. And I was like, what? So that sits on my bookcase. That's kind of awesome.
Remind me which draft that is. Is that
That's
one or
first
two?
draft.
That's first draft.
160,000 words.
Wow.
Too many words.
Too many bloody words, yeah.
Yeah.
then-
Yeah, like eight viewpoint characters. So
Yeah.
it was a
We
lot.
did the whole thing where every chapter was a different character, and it was a lot of fun. We learned a lot, and I think everybody should give collaborative writing a go, because it's so different to the being stuck in your own head, you know. Yeah.
So that was Freedom Slaves. And then I remember actually not long after we finished that, I was like, oh, I should work on something else. And it got to a certain month of the year that starts with the letter N, which we don't name here. But I was like, oh, I should have a go at doing something. And so I wrote, it kind of ended up being an extended short story. It was about 25,000 words. And my brain, unfortunately, works in long stories, not short stories.
Yeah, I was going to say, bearing in mind for Jules, 25,000 words is a short story. For crying out loud, for Jules, 25,000 words is flash fiction.
Yeah.
And
then I was like, that was fun. And I had a complete story, kind of. And then I was like, oh, but I think it wants to be a novel. So in the next 3 years, I wrote my own, which neither of these are published because we both got very busy lives. And trying to figure out how to do that has been very challenging.
yes.
Oh, and I finished that while I was in the meantime at work, because I work at a university. They were like, oh, have you done your master's? And I was like, no. And they said to me, this is my boss at the time, maybe you should think about doing that. I was like, do I have to do a master's in education? Because I was working in education. She's like, no. And I was like, so I found at one of the universities in the area where I live, creative writing, publishing, and editing. So it was both sides of the industry, and got to do that. And then I was finishing my own novel at the same time. And then that led into, so I finished that in 2018. And then 2020, I was like, maybe I should start a PhD. So again, can I do it in whatever I want to? Kind of goes with the territory of where I work.
Yeah.
And I've always, so this is my PhD. I started in the middle of 2020, like literally we're in lockdowns, and I'm like, what could I do to help keep my brain occupied and not think about the world burning down? I've always been fascinated by, I studied linguistics when I went to university, and I love creative writing. And I was like, maybe I could combine those two things. And I've always been fascinated by, like, how does a writer actually just use words on a page to create a world that doesn't exist? Like, that was my question. And I didn't want just a surface level. I was like, I want to know in the linguistic sense, what does that actually look like? So I came up with this idea of, so in Australia, for a doctorate, you basically come up with your idea and you pitch it and see if you can find a supervisor to, and within this, I literally, within the space of a month, I found a supervisor for linguistics and a supervisor for fantasy creative writing, which is what I'm doing. So my PhD is working on, and this is the stage I'm at the moment, a novel, and documenting the process as I go. So I've got the novel and stuff about my process. What are the decisions I'm making? Everything to do with world building. And then the middle stage of the process will be doing a linguistic analysis. So a very specific type of analysis that looks at what are the underlying patterns in language that we might not see in the surface. So it's actually like using computer-based analysis. And then from that analysis, what can I learn that could help inform the process? So I actually get to do kind of the next stage of the creative piece. So it's looking at those two things and how do they fit together. Is that a clear enough summary?
Yeah, and spoiler alert, I've read the first. Is that the entire first part of the?
No, I've still got a couple more chapters to.
Of course, you bloody
to
hell.
do.
I've read the first couple of chapters that she's written for it, and Jules is. Why do you have to be so good? It's why some of us have to work hard to be amazing. You just wake up. But yeah, and how much time have you got to finish it?
I'm part-time because I work full-time, so I get to try and fit this around my work. But I do actually technically get a day a week to work on it, paid, as part of my job.
Paid.
But fitting that in during semester is very challenging. So, sorry, remind me of the question again.
No, the question was how much time have you got to do it?
Oh, I'm not due to finish till November 2026. So I'm still almost a couple of years out.
Plenty. Just realised we're 20 minutes in and we haven't done cards, so we will come back to you in a moment, Jules. And Erica has, I mean, I've got a snazzy new deck which arrived the other day, cool, but Erica has a deck that has 2 very good words in the title, so we're going to go with that one.
So I have to pop out for just a hot second, but keep going.
So I have the Star Dragon Oracle deck, and I was fiddling and shuffling, and I drew one off the top as we were introducing. And
who's the artist for that one? Sorry, is that Paolo Barbieri?
That one, yes.
Yeah, because I've got his Dante's Inferno Oracle.
Yes. These are beautiful cards, and so I was going to So I was just like, messing around drawing a card, and I was going to put it back and draw another card when it was time to draw cards. But this one was so good, I'm not going to put it back.
Fair play.
Because of what we're talking about. So this is Legacy.
So let me just.
Wow.
Oh wow!
And the word is persistence. So give me just a second to put my glasses on so I can read, and then I'll hold it up.
Was that a star sign it had on it as well?
Yes. And I will
Nice.
I will tell you what the star sign is.
I like that.
So the star is Vega.
Of course it is. I was going to say that.
So there are two different wisdoms, and then an incantation, an invocation. So the wisdom of the herald: you came, you saw, you conquered, you persisted. Persistence means you keep going no matter how many times you fall. No matter what crumbles down around you, you press on. When the dust settles, you will still be standing. Keep going. Wisdom of the dragon: what is your purpose in life? What is your legacy? What are you here to do? Persistence is key as you take action to secure your destiny in life. And ultimately, what will you leave for others? What will you pass on? Define your destiny. Your great legacy is calling. Star Dragon Invocation. Have you ever wanted to give up in a situation but refused? Where did that lead you? What did it feel like to persist? And what did you engrave on the tablet of your great legacy in the Hall of Records on that day when you finally overcame the odds? Recall this victory and reflect on how you can be more persistent in your life. Oh, the constellation is Lyra.
Lyra. Of course it is. I know that.
So I was thinking, we're talking about collaborations and just writing. And I thought that this legacy, this is what we're doing. We're we're leaving our legacies.
Well, and the word
Through
persistence.
Yes, and persistence is the writing freaking process.
Yeah, you cannot write anything if you aren't persistent. And Jules is being attacked.
I have a visitor.
Yeah.
She's just inspecting. What are you doing, Mummy?
Yeah. Fair
That's
play. See, the difficulty I have with pretty much all the readings these days is I'm finding it harder and harder to like with the Severance thing, separate the work and the life, like my writing and my own personal stuff. So I listen to you talk about that card, and I'm thinking, oh yeah, that is describing my personal life to a T right now. But so trying to separate myself from that, I've been notably lacking in persistence with my writing lately. It's been for a good long while now. It's been a case of I'll do it tomorrow. And guess who hasn't done much writing lately? Yeah, I absolutely. It's always yeah.
See, and for me, those two. Well, I think it's a combination. One, and I said this on Friday, playing Alana in Baldur's Gate, even though it's not Alana. She looks about as close to Alana as I can make a video game character look to the fictional character I made up in my head.
Mm-hmm.
But playing her, and then the 2 writing sprints that we've done, I logged on about 10 minutes early and wrote 4 paragraphs.
Today?
Today.
Yeah.
I am excited to write again, and I'm excited to write her story, and I haven't been excited to write her story in a long time.
Alana time. No, that didn't work. Sorry.
Alana good time.
Yeah. It it almost worked in my head before I actually even worded it out in my head, and then it was like, do you know what? I'm going to do it anyway because it's so bad. The world needs to cringe. Do you want to hold up the card again so Ember can see it?
Sorry, like your hat. So bad the world needs to see it.
Yes, let me get it back out.
I apologize. It's my son's first day back at school, and it's been
No, it's fine.
a day.
So it was legacy and persistence.
Oh boy.
Yeah, that guy isn't taking any prisoners, is he?
Also, welcome. The kids are asleep.
And Jules, do you have any? Yes, kids are asleep. Welcome. Yes. Thank you for
Sorry,
joining
I am
us.
the official stream welcome wagon. I will be
Yeah.
ADDing between the two screens, watching.
I'm so glad somebody can do it because I bloody can't. I'm a bloke. I'm sitting down and breathing at the same time. That's multitasking, I think.
Good job.
Jules, did you have any thoughts on that particular star dragon?
That word persistence is interesting. So Dan will know this. For the past probably about 5 years, since 2018, I've really struggled to just get words on page. But my creative stuff. But there were very specific reasons for that. Work was pretty stressful for a while. I mean, it's not stressful. But as of a month ago, and I might have even mentioned this in the chat when I was interacting, suddenly it's like the word tap in my brain suddenly turned itself on. And I wrote like 15,000 words in 24 hours.
Jules, who is the baby behind you?
Oh, that's Lilu.
Hi, Lilu. I'm sorry, kitties.
Lilu Dallas multipass.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, I don't.
I'm very nervous that Lilu's found your book nook, and I'm like, is she going to try and get inside that thing?
She'll be fine. You're okay.
She's
Yeah, I'm sure she will be, but will the book nook?
And my other one will be, these are my COVID kitties. So I live by myself. And the minute we went into lockdowns in March, I was just like, I cannot do this. So as soon as possible, I just went to the local shelter, expecting to get a mature cat. And suddenly there were like cages full of kittens. And I was like, what? So I've got 2 now.
They're very hard to say no to. I have 3. I told my husband lately, I was like, kittens or so? He's like, no, we have 3 cats. If we have 4 cats, we're weird. Okay. 3 is like the max we can have without being weird.
Okay.
I was like, all right.
Yeah. So back to persistence. It's just been a case of like, I had a really long period where I almost kind of lost belief that I could actually do something, but no, it came back again. Yeah. So.
And Jules is, I mean, an incredible author. I mean, just obviously I'm going to say that because I wrote a book with her, obviously, but just and the fact that to see her lose confidence the way she did, I was banging my head against a brick wall. God knows what it was like for you. And then to read what you sent through a couple of months ago now, and it was like, oh, she's back. Here we go.
Jules, I'm so glad you're finally here with us.
It's been, and part of the reason that I didn't join last year was just because work has been very stressful. So universities in Australia, or colleges, I guess is the equivalent in the US, are all being significantly impacted post-COVID with like the government changing policies about international students. And so my university where I work has had to try and find ways to save $80 million. I still have a job because I still actually teach students, but it's been a really tough 6 months. Yeah.
May I ask, because the US, we're so impacted, does Australia generally rely on out-of-country students to help?
It has been, and that's purely because of government policy. They removed funding for domestic students, so that was the only way that they could get extended funding to continue doing what they do.
Wow.
The university I work, we're a regional university, so we haven't been impacted quite to the same extent because our proportion of international students wasn't as high, but still, like $80 million is not something to sneeze at. So
No.
yeah.
I don't know.
Um,
I think I've lost that amount just down the back of the settee, personally.
I could go down a rabbit hole here, but I won't. I won't.
Yeah.
Go on, go down a rabbit hole.
Oh no, I'm working with a client who is applying for California state grant funding, and I don't even know where to start. Like I can't say much about the client, but I can say that the state set up a pot of millions of dollars for everyone throughout the state to compete for. But you've got, oh, I see Erica nodding, but you've got vastly different regions with vastly different resources all competing for the same pot of money. And so a business in a wealthy area can hire the best grant writers, the best researchers, the best everything, whereas someone in my region may not have the same access to resources. And so, you know, I'm speaking to someone who is explaining all this to me, and I'm like, okay, but you're talking about equity, but there's no equity at the baseline, which is, again, why I left nonprofit.
Yeah.
So that's all I can really say. But so it speaks to me just being like, yeah, there's funding, but
So for me this semester, so we start our year works on the calendar year. So this is second semester. Started 4 weeks ago because of all my other things that have been happening in personal life. I've missed 2 weeks out of 4 for the first part of the semester. My students are great. They've been really understanding, but yeah, it's been a lot. But at the same time, like I'm suddenly a morning person and I can think clearly, and I haven't had coffee in a month and my brain's still like, let's go and do things. Kind of amazing.
No,
that's amazing.
no.
Yeah, Dan's like, what are you? What creature
No.
are you?
No.
Mornings, no coffee.
The information that Jules sent me is very interesting. And, you know, the fact that we do rely heavily on stimulants, the first thing we wake up is like,
So here's the bizarre thing. I went to have myself a decaf. Like I've got a cappuccino machine at home. We do good coffee in Australia.
I believe
And I
you.
went to have a decaf with my breakfast. And I still couldn't drink it because decaf still has a small amount of caffeine in it. And I was like, what is going on? I'm so sad because I like
Sorry,
good
back in
coffee.
1 second. Somebody hasn't closed the door properly.
Oh dear. And the kids are asleep, says grants are a lot. Yes, thank you. The kids are asleep. Grants are a lot. I used to work in grant funding, and it was a hard life.
Yes. So speaking of the hour of the day, because it's like 6:30 now,
So early.
I am
for
kind
me.
of looking forward to when daylight savings comes back for us, which is the start of October, because that will make this actually much more normal feeling.
We recently applied for a NEA grant. It was so much work for such a long shot. Kids are asleep. I am not good at acronyming. What does NEA stand for? Depending
We
on
did
where you are.
In my my graduate program, we had a whole like semester on grant writing.
Huh.
I was on the other side of that fence for a very long time, reading grants and awarding grants. And so I have a very different understanding of that world. But Kids Are Asleep says National Endowment for the Arts. Okay, yeah. Again, equity, like the amount of work that people have to put in just to get money. Someone asked me, like, what if you applied for a grant to like write your book? And I was like, you think I have 300 hours to
Mhm.
write that grant? I don't have that.
Yeah.
So
I was going to say something deep.
We were talking about persistence and cards.
Persistence, yes. So, Ember, did you have any thoughts on that? Just to finish off the card side of things.
No, I'm already derailing us. Don't let me derail us more.
Well, no, because I was thinking for the persistent side, because how persistent you've been with Manifuego, because you've
That's what I was thinking. Like
Yeah.
she's kind of the picture of persistence with
Yeah.
Manny.
Is she?
'cause-
I feel like I have. Okay, can I like be vulnerable for a minute?
Absolutely.
I've been in book talk for a year and a half, and I have seen the way people go about this whole thing, right? Like I have come into like the book talk realm with other people kind of at the same level of me and watched them take off with their novels and with their marketing. And I am a marketing and communications specialist, but when it comes to my own stuff, like I am great. I am so great at taking someone else's project and breaking it down into steps and saying, here's what we got to do. It's going to be amazing. You're going to do amazing. With my own thing, with Manny Fuego, I have been building the plane as I fly it, which is kind of embarrassing to admit. So I went into this a few weeks ago, finally, with the money to buy the ISBNs. Like I needed $300, which I did not have. I started a business. It's expensive. I was like, here it is. I've got them, and I can finally like input all the data into Ingram Spark and print my book and blip blip blip. No, it's a lot harder than I anticipated. And I got the EPUB out, and the EPUB is great. And I got the proof back for my print, and I realized that I had missed some steps in the design. And so even this morning, I was looking up like, okay, if I have an InDesign file with facing pages and I want the goddamn page numbers to be on this side and on this side, how do I make that work? Oh, well, I have to reapply. It's just been embarrassing to roll out my EPUB and to not have the print ready for people because I did the thing that I do, which is I jumped in with both feet with so much excitement and realized like I had no fucking clue what I was doing. So a part of the reason why I have so much anxiety is because like I have been sitting with this file being like, I have to completely overhaul it because I taught myself how to do InDesign. And InDesign for a book is a completely different thing than InDesign for a flyer or a logo or any kind of thing that I do for my clients. Like it's so outside of the realm of shit that I've designed for people. So yes, I am being persistent, but I am also kind of right now in a headspace of just beating myself up because I am so frustrated that I didn't take all of this into consideration before I rolled out Manny Fuego. And I'm watching other people that I am mutuals with rolling out their books, being like, it's coming out in January. And I bet the fuck it will come out in January. And my book did not come out on July 31st. Like, the EPUB came out around that time. The print will be out whenever the hell I can get it figured out. And I'm working on the audiobook with Jen and Chandler, which is going to be amazing. So I forget where I was going with this other than just like...
You don't feel persistent, but you actually are.
Erica, do you want to take this one or shall I?
Well, I was just like, okay, so
I want to cry. Like, I want to lay down and crawl into a hole and just like hide from the world because it's so fucking embarrassing.
Okay, so Friday we're not going to get into this online because we're just not. But I was
not.
Well, no, I was vulnerable with you and Dan offline, and it is hard when like one part of our job intersects with another part of our life, and we can't freaking like figure it out and make it work. And it does. It makes us feel like a failure because we can do it for other people. We can help other people through it. Like, but when it has to translate to this other piece of our life, it's not there. And in my profession, in Dan's profession, it shouldn't be. Like, we should not be crossing those barriers. And so I'm wondering if what if like you, and it's manipulation a little bit with your brain. But like, what if you made like a fake client for Manny Fuego's author? And suggest, like, did all those steps like you would do for a client for this fake author, and looked at it from a different perspective. Like I said, like this is manipulation a little bit with your brain, because you know that you're the author of Manny Fuego, but like you play with your brain just a little bit.
Yeah.
Because the other thing, just to add to that, if I may, is you're beating yourself up here for not knowing how to do something you've never done before and have had no training on before. Just going to throw that one out there.
That too.
Because
I did assume that I could do it, though.
yes, but no plan survives contact with the enemy. And put it to you this way, you've done a damn sight better job than I would have done if I had tried it. I apologize for that. The sound effect, if you got that.
No,
You didn't. Thank
What
God
sound?
for that.
I didn't
is a
hear a
one.
thing.
What are we hearing?
A teenage boy is what we just didn't just hear. So apologies.
We're all
Well-
humans, and we have other, we have other things in our lives. It's fine.
Well, thank you. Thank you for that sidestep. I'm just,
but
And
in
breathe. Breathe.
1, 2, 3, you're back in the room. Jules, you've obviously when you were doing your masters, I have a copy of the book, but it's down here behind all my tarot cards. But you collated, produced,
Oh,
and
you know what I actually did? I pulled it off my bookshelf.
of course you did.
It wasn't my master's. It was when I was
Was it not? I thought it was your
I
master's.
started with a diploma of professional writing and editing.
Oh, right.
So one of the subjects, so diploma is kind of like a vocational qualification, essentially. One of our final subjects, we had to work together, like all the people in my class, to put together an anthology, like start to finish. So we sent out calls for short stories and put together the design. And because I'd already been playing around with InDesign and doing a lot of that stuff for a while, and no one else in the class had any idea, I actually took over the layout design side of things for getting it published. And we still have an ebook that exists that's free. I actually was like, oh yeah, that's still a thing. So here's a copy of the
Oh, it is. Yeah.
and like we just sent it to a local printer. Oh, I've even got signatures in the back. But I had to figure out how to do all the book, like the inner book design, and we actually, we got photos and things for all the stories. So these were just, I think there's a dozen, and we, and I've got a story in here. No, there's more than a dozen. So if you want to see a sample of something that's Freedom Slaves related, I can provide the name of the book later. It doesn't cost anything.
Which store is that?
Stitches.
Stitches. Oh my God, I don't remember. Didn't remember that one ended up in there. Oh, there you
Yeah.
go. So it was before this morning. I can't remember what these things were happening.
And yeah, so I mean, we had a whole year to kind of organize that, but yeah. So that's the thing that we did.
That's amazing.
So
And
the
it's on Smashwords, the ebook version. So I can't even remember what I did to create the ebook. I might have even used Scrivener. So Scrivener is kind of my default for all of my larger projects. And I know you've had problems with it, Ember. I get it. Especially if you are jumping in and you've never used it before. Like I kind of found it It would have been around 2010, so I've already been using it for quite a while, and it can convert things relatively easily into EPUB format. So a lot of the people that I had beta reading for us for Freedom Slaves, I'd send them their ebook copy of Freedom Slaves. It doesn't exist anywhere in online, but yeah.
Yeah, it turns out ebooks are less work than formatting a book that is going to be
for the
printed.
physical print.
Yeah,
yes,
there are things to take into consideration that I didn't even consider. Like you want your pages to face to
I like my
pages to face, and you don't want bleed in the middle.
Yep.
And so you want them to do that, and then you want the page. It's like the ADD
There's a lot
thing.
to think about.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm like I can do it, and then I'm like, well, no, I can't.
But the point is, you can now because you've figured out what you needed to do.
I'm so close to being done.
Yeah.
But the rollout is just a mess. So yeah, it's not what it, like if I did this for a client, I would just be like, I quit. I do this for free. Like it's not.
Well, if you're good at something, never do it for free, and we know you're good at something because it's you don't get measured in the halfway through the job. You get measured for the end result, and the end result we all know is going to be a great. I mean, we've seen the ebook. The ebook looks amazing, and the print one is going to look just as amazing. It's just you haven't got to that stage yet.
Yeah.
But I mean, persistence it's not necessarily just in you've got to be persistent in absolutely everything because just sitting here, it just occurred to me. So was it Friday we did the sprint or was it Thursday? Friday. So I submitted something. I was sending out submissions rather than writing, and I got a rejection on one of those things on Saturday, which is like, oh my god, gee, guys, thank you. What? I don't know how they managed to reply to people that quickly, but thank you for that. But the next thing is to send that out to somebody else now. It'd be very easy to just go, well, okay, well, that's not been accepted. It's obviously rubbish. Meh. And I think if you're going to do anything in this field, be it professionally, just as a hobby, if any of your life is going to involve writing, you've got to practice that persistence and be kind. And part of persistence is being kind to yourself when you don't get it right first time, because if you got it right first time, you wouldn't need to be persistent.
And having good people around you who encourage you when you don't believe in yourself.
Yeah, that as well.
Sorry, I hope this didn't turn into Ember therapy session because
that's good.
Well, no, because that's what I was saying. That applies to me just as much as anybody else. Like I say, I'm weird when I get a rejection. It's like, oh, cool. I don't know why. So no, seriously, it's I suspect part of it is kind of a defense mechanism. If I go, oh, cool, that means I don't go, oh, shit. But also it means, it's kind of like it's proof that I'm in the game. I'm doing what I need to do. Okay, yes, it didn't get published, but the fact that I got a rejection means that I'm doing the work needed to get published. And
the fact that you have been published multiple times shows that it actually does make a difference.
Yeah, exactly. You just got to keep on keeping on.
Just got to sing the Dory song.
Yes.
Just keep swimming.
It's like Dan lives in a world where American media just doesn't break through. The Numberjacks just broke him. And
you have no idea how badly the Numberjacks broke me.
The puzzler. No, we're not doing the puzzler song today. The Kids Are Asleep says rejections are a part of the life of a working writer.
You're not wrong. I'm just gonna look at that instead of wonder what the hell we're talking about.
Finding Nemo. It's a Disney Pixar movie.
Your
Anyway.
child is at such an age that I would have thought that Finding Nemo would have been on repeat in your home. Like,
No, what was on repeat in my home was Cars, because they had cars. Cars and
Heaven's a highway.
yeah, that and what was the Chuggington? Chuggington was the other one. Was
Oh, we have a bot. Welcome, bot. I will be happy to boot you.
oh wow! I feel so loved.
I love a bot.
Viewers on
Oh
bot.
no, god damn it. I pinned it by accident. Fucking ModView. ModView is bullshit, by the way, you guys. ModView is bullshit.
Mod view bullshit. Apparently, I don't know what
Fucking
mod
like I
view
hit
is,
the little
but bullshit.
sword and it's like, did you want to pin this? And I'm like, no, I wanted to slash it
I
into
wanted to
eternity.
cut it to ribbons. I wanted to leave it a bloody mess on the floor.
Ah! Okay, well, I'll be working on that. You all talk about things. I'm in fucking ModView. Like,
So,
no.
Jules, tell us about the kind of things you write. So you've told us your writing journey, but you haven't necessarily told us what you write. What?
And this is related to the things I love reading too. I just love secondary world fantasy. So anything that's like a world that is not our world, that's kind of awesome and epic. So, like, Lord of the Rings was my gateway drug. And then I found Robin Hobb, and then I found Brandon Sanderson and Sherwood Smith, she's not as well known, but and the other thing that's really important to me is like really interesting character dynamics. So I think Dan and I working together, we bring some very different things. Dan, like his strategic brain, military brain, is
Jen can't be with us, but she's saying hi.
Jen, how dare you?
Yeah.
Hi,
I
Jen.
mean, that was the great thing whilst we were writing, just collaboratively, was I'm very big picture. You know,
We're gonna say you are a big prick.
I will outright say I'm a big prick. I'm the biggest prick. But no, I'm big picture, you know, wider story arc, whereas Jules is very down, you know, ground level, seeing how everything relates to each other. And it was terrifying how well our writing styles meshed. Because whenever one of us has a blind spot in one area, the other one sees it. It's
the number of times we would be like, oh, I don't know how to fix that thing. It's not quite working. And the other one would be like, what about? And it's just, that was really fun.
Awesome.
So for me, like awesome, interesting, big secondary worlds and focus on characters at the same time. So like the world that I'm working in for my novel, which is the thing that the world that I've been working on since I was like in high school.
Sorry. Similarities. I'm like,
yeah, is no, I lost my train of thought.
I'm sorry. I've been working on a thing since high school too, and I didn't know I thought I was the only one.
Yeah. And like I just love playing around in that world. Like it's morphed over the time, but most of the stuff that I write now fits somewhere in that. And like the novel, so with a PhD, you have to be writing something that you've never written before.
Oh, boo.
So I was like, well, I just get to pick a brand new part of the world that I've never played in before, and it's so freaking fun. So secondary world fantasy, but with awesome characters. Oh, that's what I often don't do like fantastical creatures very much. I tend to focus on human-like characters. Although the current story's kind of got something, I'm not going to mention it because I don't want to spoil, but one of the things, I'm going to sidestep for a moment. When we were working on the original version of Freedom Slaves, so this was our writing RPG, which was no dice, nothing like that. It was just, let's set up scenario, pick a character, and then you write a scene from that person's point of view.
Yeah, play by post.
we started the story by just picking a handful of photos for visual inspiration. And so I've kind of
Erica would approve.
I'm like, that is my kind of writing right there.
I know. And it was partly so that everybody would kind of be on the same page when we're describing things. And so we did the same with Freedom Slaves. And then with this novel that I'm working on, I was like, the things that I'm trying to imagine in my head do not exist in the real world. So one of my uses of AI image art, which my ethical line is, I'm never going to try and sell this. I just wanted something visual that I could use as an inspiration point.
I picked this up at San Diego Comic-Con, just so you know.
I need that.
Sorry, yeah, carry on.
But yeah, I've been playing around to try and get it to visualize the thing, like give me something a bit more concrete, and frick, it's been so fun. So I've got like all my characters, although I'm like, why are they always so impossibly beautiful? Like even trying to get them to not be quite
Yeah,
that
AI
beautiful.
cannot do ugly
Really
people.
It can't. It's weird.
No. But so
you
my
type in "give me an ugly person" and it pulls up Nathan Fillion or something like that. It's just yeah.
My city that's kind of the setting for this story, I'll give you an example. Like I'm trying to imagine in my head like something like ancient Babylon, Persia, but in the Grand Canyon. And so I got it to do that for me. And I'm like, it's so fun. Yeah.
So Petra.
Yeah, kind of. Yeah. Well, not yeah.
I know.
There will be an actual location that's basically Petra, but that's not going to appear in this story just yet.
Why? Why do you like that type of writing? Because we've all
I
worked
like
about
stuff.
our stuff, but
I like stuff specifically where you go into it and you have to. It's almost like you're trying to put together a puzzle that you've never seen before, and the whole story is about trying to. And you take another step, and it's like same experience that I got reading The Lord of the Rings and then watching the movies, like that kind of sense of wonder. And I get that from Brandon Sanderson. I love Brandon Sanderson. And
word of warning: don't ever get Jules and Gary in a room together and say the words Brandon Sanderson, because the conversation will never end. It's just I've been there. I have experienced it. Sanderson frightens me. He just writes too much. I cannot handle 1,000-page books. It's just too much.
I probably have the same problem as him, although maybe not to the same extreme. He doesn't do short.
No.
Really.
Right, we are coming up to the hour. I've got to go and see how my son's doing because he had a job interview today and I haven't actually seen him. So I need to go and take the piss out of him slightly. Just because that's the kind of dad I am. Anybody else want to ask Jules anything to top us off? Say anything?
Will you please be coming back? Because this was not enough time.
That's my intention. Yeah.
Okay.
Now that I've got, because this room set up, my study, it's like literally like less than a week old.
It's lovely though. You did a great job.
I'm going to have some new artwork appearing on these walls. I've been finding stuff online. I'm like I love it.
Excellent.
Wrong side. That is a gift from my best friend. It is a map of Australia in the style of Lord of the Rings.
No,
they found it. They found it somewhere online, and I adore it. It's so good.
Cool.
So, yeah.
Well, and when you publish your stuff, you've got to let us know, because like what you described, number one, is what I'm hoping to do with all of Alana's story, is like that stepping of like revealing until you get to the end. And then also like what you enjoy sound like, that's like right down my and I never thought about using AI with my like aphantasia issues.
Yep.
I
So
always-
my line is, I've got those images. I'm never going to share them online with
Oh,
anybody.
no.
But when I'm in the position to, I want to be able to hand someone my book and maybe the art if they're interested, and pay them to actually recreate something that's awesome and doesn't have all the oddities that come with the AI art itself.
Like extra legs and fingers and hands. Yeah.
And one of the fun things I did with, like, when I was trying to visualize some of my characters, was actually figured out a way to get the software to like age them up and down slightly, so that I could actually see what they look like when they're younger and older as well. So for most of my main characters, I've got like a sequence from when they're young all the way up to like the end of this story, at least. So fun.
That's very cool.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
Cool.
So I'm intending to be here next week.
Excellent. That's well. We might not want you here next week.
What about our sprints that we might do later this week?
We still haven't talked about collaboration, because
We didn't.
I mean,
We
part of-
totally just.
part of the reason that I wanted to talk about that is I'm very aware that for Dan and I, that's not like, that was not, it's not a normal experience for that to be the first
was our
novel someone
first-
ever writes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
People don't. I mean, we'd written stuff individually before, in the way of people joining online communities saying, "I've written this, read it. What do you guys think?" But for your first actual solid experience writing a novel, I mean, how many people have that as an experience? So it's
The
and
challenge
frankly,
for us,
more people should, because it was epic.
we are up to needing to write draft 3. We've got some major character stuff that we need to fix, but we've got a plan. Like, my brain's been coming up with ideas. So maybe we'll see when life is not so hectic. When I'm like, I want to do it, but I'm also doing a PhD and other things too. I'm like, I don't know.
That's a T-shirt. I want to do it, but I'm also doing a PhD.
I mean, that's even better than one. My sister got her PhD, and so I got a picture of her blackout drunk, with "Trust me, I'm a doctor" on it. And
Yeah, I may start doing a like T-shirt shop on the side to subsidize all my other things that I'm doing. So I'll put that
just
in my-
because you don't have enough to do already.
I just need people to pay me money to do my work.
Yeah, I hear that. But yes, Amber mentioned we'll probably be back at some point this week for another writing sprint or writing affiliated sprint. People might remember Kyoko M from a few weeks ago. Ooh,
I'm so sad I wasn't here for that, by the way.
So she will be back here not next week, the week after. So the 2nd of September. She's amazing and we all love her. And yes, Jules, thank you for joining us at long bloody last, by the way.
Now we truly are international, not just 2 countries. There's 3.
Yeah.
2 countries is international. We're worldwide.
Yeah.
There we go.
Like Pitbull. I couldn't not.
Fair play. But no, seriously, Jules, thanks for coming along and being the focus of everybody's attention today. So we'll give you some peace and quiet in the future.
My cats are going to tell me they want breakfast in a second. So
I'm surprised they didn't make you feed them as soon as you got up.
it's breakfast time now. Someone will come and start meowing at me in a minute. Yeah.
All right, guys. Well, thank you for joining us. Where can we be found? Jules, do you have any links, sites?
No, there are reasons I took myself off all social media, but I'm probably starting a blog soon. But anybody who's interested in seeing a snippet of Freedom Slaves, Skype. So this is the name of the book, Eclectica. It's free. If you have a look on Smashwords and just search that title, it'll come up, and you just look for Julie Sharp. My name is in there. So.
All right.
I just put it in the private chat thing.
Oh, but yeah. I'm quite happy for someone to put the link in the
I can share it in
the
Discord.
comments. Yeah, cool.
Yeah.
There you go. Hopefully.
Here, that one.
Yay.
Cool. Erica.
I am at rpgplaytherapy.com and RPG Playtherapy on Twitch and YouTube.
Amber.
I'm at Robots and Magic wherever you get your internet, except for Twitter, because we don't fuck around with her. So come hang out, see all the stupid pictures I post on Instagram, see all the stupid stuff that I post on Threads. Enjoy. And Many Fuego's Guide to Good Eats is available as an EPUB right now, for $7.95 USD.
And it's fucking amazing.
It's fucking amazing. If you've read
Buy
it, please
it,
give me a review
review
so
it.
other people will read it. Please, just please.
We need to talk about reviews at some point.
Are you holding lidocaine? Is that a lidocaine roller? I have the
It
same.
is.
Yeah, that's my buddy. That's for right here. Yep.
Yeah,
That's
well,
my
I bought it in the US. I thought, well, I'll give it a go.
Asper
Because
cream's
I'm on.
amazing.
It's. I get the good stuff over here. But look, when you've got as much wrong with me, you have to get the good stuff. But the good stuff is difficult to get hold of. You've got to jump through hoops. So I thought this is better. This is better than the shit you get over the counter over here.
She's lovely. We love her. And Dan, where can we find you?
You can find me on YouTube, the RPG Therapist, right here at the International Writers Fellowship, and very newly realized I might well be, not confirmed yet, but might well be at PAX Unplugged in Philadelphia in December. Maybe,
That's
possibly. Very tenuous, but cross everything, and hopefully I'll be there. So if you are in that part of the world in the first week of December, I think it is, pop over and say hi.
East Coast, maybe you'll get to see Gary.
Yeah, that's because he's Maryland, is that right?
Yeah,
I have no
somewhere around
idea where anybody is.
No. Anyway, so that's where you can find me online and in real life. Thanks everybody for joining us, and join us later either Thursday or Friday this week for a sprint, and same time next week for more whatever the hell this is.
there.
We're trying so hard.
See you later, guys. Have a good